They are argued to be the best violins ever, prized by musicians and collectors alike. Played by the likes of virtuosos and legends, Stradivarius violins are the epitome of craftsmanship and sound quality. But what makes these centuries-old instruments so special? Is it the genius of Antonio Stradivari, the unique materials he used, or perhaps just the myth amplified over time? Let's dive into the fascinating story of Stradivarius violins, their unmatched legacy, and whether or not they live up to the hype. Let's go. Antonio Stradivari was born in 1644 in Cremona, Lombardy, which was in the Duchy of Milan. He is believed to have been the apprentice of Niccolo Amati, a master luthier, but there is very little evidence to prove this. Anyway, assuming that he was Niccolo's apprentice, Stradivari would have started his apprenticeship around 12 or 13 years old, around 1656, and stayed with his master for years. It is believed that in the early 1660s, Stradivari began producing decent enough instruments to put his own labels on them, and the earliest label known to date is 1666, when he was around 22 years old. Anyway, Stradivari would continue making his violins in the style of his master, smaller in size, solidly constructed, and with a yellow varnish. And in 1680, Stradivari moved to Cremona San Domenico and really started perfecting his work. He began experimenting with his violins and moving away from his master's design, changing the shape, length, varnish color, and more over the next 20 years. It was then in 1699 that Stradivari finally discovered the design that he was looking for, and the period between 1700 and 1725 became known as his golden period. This was the height of Stradivarius' prowess, and he made many magnificent violins, many of which are so grand that they have names. The Greffel Stradivarius, made around 1709, and one of the only 11 that is decorated. The Betz Stradivarius, arguably one of Stradivarius' finest violins, and now housed in the Library of Congress. The Lady Blunt Stradivarius, one of the best preserved Stradivarius violins because it mainly resided in the hands of collectors and not players. And the Messiah Stradivarius, which remained in Stradivarius' workshop until he died. It is considered almost mint condition and has basically never been played. Now Stradivari continued with his work until 1737, when he died at the age of 92 or 93, and over the course of his career he created over 1,100 instruments, of which 650 survive to this day. So what makes Stradivarius instruments so valuable? Well, to start off, it's the quality of the craftsmanship. Stradivarius, over his 75-year career, painstakingly paid attention to the details of making a violin. The quality of the wood, the quality of the varnish, the quality of the sound, everything involved with making an excellent instrument. Which brings us to our next point, which is sound. These violins are renowned for their rich and powerful sound that also have exceptional clarity and projection. Many people believe that the dense, slow-growing spruce Stradivari used helped resonate sound better. In addition, the varnish preserved the quality of the wood, which in turn preserved the quality of the sound. However, unfortunately, no one really knows why Stradivarius instruments sound the way that they do. Probably one of the biggest reasons is historical significance. As mentioned earlier, Stradivari made around 1,100 instruments and around 650 survive today. Many are loaned to musicians who have shown exceptional skill and high levels of performance. They are then passed down to the next generation of excellent musicians and so on. So the instruments are played, maintained, and exposed to the world, adding to their value and global influence. And lastly, of course, is the investment value. Many people over the last 300 years have simply just bought Stradivarius violins, knowing that they would appreciate in value. And spoiler alert, they have. A lot. Stradivari may have not known that his legacy would still thrive centuries after his death. Yet his craftsmanship and innovation have stood the test of time, making his violins some of the most coveted and revered instruments in the world. His name is synonymous with perfection in violin making and proves that genius can resonate over generations. And with that, I'm Evan, and thanks for watching. If you liked what you just saw, then click on the video here. Also, if you haven't, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos.